So, with the fact that Fallout 76 has now been announced for a couple of weeks, I thought it was about time that I came back with all the information we have and all the new information we have and update basically what I mentioned before and give you the laydown on everything that we know about Fallout 76 so far. But before we do that, I would like to say if any of you out there really want to get into being part of a Fallout community, or you're looking for people to eventually play with when the game is released and on the beta, jump over to the Discord that is linked in the description down below. It's Fallout Vault 76. It's actually a really cool place. Some of the information I have in this video comes from that place. It's a good place to stay up to date, have a nice chat with some of your fellow nerds who are also massive Fallout fans, and it's just overall a nice place to be. So the link is in the description, go check that out. But now let's jump into the video. So first things first, just as a basic overview, I guess you could say, Fallout 76 is not the next Fallout game. It is a Fallout style game. It is not a single player game. It is online only, which means that you can play solo, but the servers and the game map and everything that you play, all the information that you'll need for the game, is online only. There is no disc to like put in and just play a campaign from like mission 1 to mission 300 or whatever there would be. There is a quest line in the game, but it's kind of sidetracked with a lot of other things. There is nothing like leaving a vault and then finding your dad and turning on the purifier, or leaving the vault, finding your son and then possibly putting an end to the Institute or not. It's nothing like that. It's a Fallout style RPG that is online only, and it's an interesting concept for a game, but that's not what we're talking about today. But just as the basics, there you go. It's online only, solo play with the possibility of 4-player to maybe 6-player teams, and it was also hinted at that there might be some deathmatch style stuff further down the line, but we'll get into the rest of that later on. All you need to know is the next Fallout game, Fallout 76, is online only RPG style. Now, first things first, people have been wondering team size and if you have to be with your friends and all this other kind of stuff to team up, because as you see in the trailer and through some of the other interviews that there have been, 4 people in power armor are running around having a bit of fun, and 3 people are running around dressed as a postman and another guy and all this kind of stuff. And people have been wondering what the team situation is like. And the information we know so far is, yes, you can team up. The easiest way it appears that you team up is with friends. So you would start a party and you would have 3 other of your friends in an overall team of 4. 4 does appear to be the maximum. There doesn't appear to be any more than 4, but we don't know because, you know, the beta isn't out yet, so we haven't had a hands-on experience with the game. And the fact that, you know, the game comes out in November, stuff might change between now and when the game is released. So always remember to take everything that I'm going to tell you with a pinch of salt, because even though at the minute we know 4 people maximum per, I guess you could say team, it's just friends playing. There's no team-based style combat or anything like that, but 4 people a team is what appears to be the maximum so far. There might be more. It's doubt we'll go less, but you know, the maximum at the minute is 4, with the possibility, I mean, of 5. 5 is the maximum I could see, because some areas of the map are going to be a lot harder to get into than if you were a solo player. Then, you know, if you're a solo player, it's going to be a lot harder to get into some of the areas, to say if you were running with 3 people or 4 people. And with the fact that some of the areas might change, 5 people might be the max, but for now, it's only 4 people. Now, the next thing is the map. The map itself is 4 times larger than Fallout 4's map, which means a lot of exploration and a lot of cool things that need to be found. Now, there is, before we talk a little bit about the map, there is a guy up on Reddit whose name I can't remember, but he has posted this picture right here, which is the full style map for the information we already know and have kind of been able to piece together from videos and interviews and images that we've seen in some of the stuff. He's pieced it all together into this map right here, and as you can see, it shows off a majority of the stuff, if not everything that's there. Some things have question marks on them because they might not be there, they might be, but you can tell from the map it's going to be a big place. Now, the map itself is split up into 6 different biome style areas, with like a swamp style area, an irradiated glowing sea style area, a forest area, you know, like a green kind of area, and each one has its own specific style of enemies, and I'm going to say its own specific style of loot, because there are, in the game, I'll talk about this a little bit long, they've brought back the legendary style weapons, so I'm guessing you'll only be able to find specific styles of weapons or specific types of legendary weapons in each biome, you know. And I think as well, because they talked about bringing lore style animal NPC, you know, like the Jabberwocky or whatever it's called, the Gollum-esque thing, or the big muscly guy of such a place. Names I should know but can't remember at this moment in time. They look like they're all going to be in specific areas, because the Gollum-style creature's in a swamp, whereas the big muscly dude's in like a nice forestry type of town. So killing them, you'll probably have to go into each different biome, which is nice, because it means you actually have to go out and explore the map. Now, with the map being 4 times bigger than Fallout 4's map, it's going to take a very, 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 very long time for you to find, I'm going to say, a quarter of the stuff, because I've only just come across some stuff in the Fallout 4 map, and I've been playing Fallout 4, not Floor, on and off ever since it came out, like from midnight release. So, you know, and I'm only just discovering stuff now. But that's the coolest thing I think about the Fallout 76 map, is the amount of exploration and like maybe small puns, maybe not, that you'll find. Like if you remember in Fallout New Vegas, there was the Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru in Nipton style thing, and there was just outside of Good Springs, there was the Indiana Jones inside the washing machine, inside the refrigerator, even if you put on Wild Wasteland perk. So exploring the map is going to be the good thing, and the fact that it's separated out into different biomes also allows you, you know, a lot of freedom when it comes to being in your own personal favorite area. I know I'm probably only going to stick to the forest style of area, but some of you might want to go stick in the irradiated area, some of you might want to be in the desert area. It's all up to you. But with the map being so big, you also don't have to worry about PvP or bumping into people, because you know, bumping into people on a map that big is going to be quite difficult, but we'll cover that later on as well. Now, building is an interesting thing that we've actually, a couple of videos have been out recently that have pinpointed some very interesting things that have changed from Fallout 4 settlement building into the new, I don't want to say settlement building, because you don't really have a settlement, you have just a base, but in the base building, the entire menu system has now been changed, so it's now a more sleeker style of design in the area of, if you wanted to build, say you were just going to build a nice small shack, what you would do is you would go across to the specific area on the top of the map. It's all separated on the top of the bar. It's all separated out between decoration, building, turrets, miscellaneous, all this other kind of stuff. And what you do from there is you select that one, and then down your side menu, so coming down the left and the right side, will be different things. So if you are building, you've got your foundation down, you want to build a nice, let's go with that brick wall that we've seen in the video. Say you want to do that, you would scroll down to wall, and then you would cycle left and right with the directional pad, which would swap you between wood, metal, concrete, all this other kind of stuff, instead of having to go into, like you do now on Fallout 4, the metal category where you have metal prefab and all that kind of stuff. You just go to the wall or section or whatever you want to build, and then you scroll left and right to get to that specific material. There is also a couple of new things in, and we have seen what appears to be the ammo crafting bench, which looks kind of interesting. It's there in the top corner right there. along with this one, which appears to be the some people have called it a trombone, but it looks more like a tuba, and I think it is the tuba from when we saw the people playing the piano and the tuba and the drum. That's there as well. And as you can see, also there are vendors. And now this was something that we'll cover a lot more in depth in a minute, but it appears that vending machines or vendors or whatever that you would use to make caps are in their own specific set right there, just down the side, and then across the top in their own specific subcategory, which is a very interesting thing as well, along with your decorations and your turrets all being in nice easy places to find now. It's been streamlined basically, so instead of having to pop in and out of all these different metal floor to get to pop back out and then go get a wall or whatever, it's all just there and you can do it really easily now. So I like the way that the building has come out, but let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Now, nukes. Nukes are an interesting topic that people still don't seem to have grasped, and not everybody. A lot of people have been able to get on the bandwagon and realize how nukes will now be used and all this kind of stuff, but some people are still having problems with getting their head around it. So this is how it goes. Okay, nukes can only be accessed when you are a high level, so they would fall within the end game, and that's end game in quotation marks, but they would fall within the end game style type of area. So you would not leave Vault 76 and immediately turn left and just head for the closest nuclear launch bunker, because it's not going to work like that. The enemies that surround the bunker or the enemies that surround the nuclear launch codes that you have to kill to get are very high level. 40 and above is what I've been able to try and pick out from some of the information that's on the internet. It might be less, might be more, I don't know. But nukes are going to be your high level tier fun kind of stuff that you want to go after and try and have a bit of fun. And if you're with your mates, 4 year at level 40 in power armor is going to be pretty fun going after trying to get all these nuclear launch codes and all this kind of stuff. Now, along with the nuclear launch codes, the nuke cannot be used as a griefing tool. Now, you're probably wondering what could you possibly mean by this? Of course, it's going to be used as a griefing tool. Right. When you launch a nuke, apart from the fact that it's going to take a lot of effort to get to the point where you get to launch the nuke, when a nuke is activated and is about to be launched, there are warning sirens. The people on the map are notified that a nuclear missile is about to be launched. I don't know if it notifies you where it's going to land. That is the one thing I currently don't know, but what we've been able to find from interviews with, not Todd Howard, but the other guy, is that when the nuclear missile is launched, sirens go off. It's a missile silo. It's not your fucking local shop that just happens to have a missile that you can launch. It's going to make noise, it's going to have military procedure behind it and all this kind of stuff. So there will be notifications. Now, like I said, I don't know if the missile is going to be marked where it's going to land on the map, but you will have plenty of time to get out of the way before the nuclear bomb drops. But, and this is something that dawned on me while reading into the nuclear research stuff, is that if you're in the area where a nuclear bomb is going to drop and you can't get out in time, like it's going to land on a place near to your base, if not on top of your base, what you want to do, if you have one, equip your radiation or advanced radiation suit, then log off and wait for the bomb to hit, because while people are still playing the game, it will register all this kind of stuff going on, so it will register the nuclear bomb hitting, and then when you log back in, you won't have been hit by a nuclear bomb, but you will be in that high level endgame style radiation zone where you can kill special enemies to get special loot. Now, base building, something I should have mentioned, is when you build a base, you can save your base as a blueprint, because if you build in an area, log off, and someone then, while you're off, comes and builds in that area, they have priority over that build area. So to stop the game from kind of spawning two settlements on top of each other, the person who logs in, their settlement gets saved as a blueprint, which they can then go put down earlier. I should have mentioned this before, but when you log off, your base goes with you, so your base can't stay behind and get griefed. Which means, if someone's going to launch a nuclear missile at you, put on your radiation suit, log off so your base comes with you. Give it about 5 minutes just to be safe, because we don't know how long it's going to take for a nuclear missile to launch. It won't be like that. A nuclear missile won't launch and then land instantaneously. There'll be a little bit of a delay. It's a ballistic missile, for crying out loud. It doesn't go up, turn 90 degrees, and then just drop straight back down. You know, it doesn't go up, turn 180 degrees, and go straight back down. It curves, it arcs, it's kind of like a bullet. So log off for 5 minutes, give it a bit of time, come back on, and you'll be in an area. And if you're high enough level, you can then go and do some high-level raid-style stuff, which is going to be good. If not, you can just pack up your base and naff off to a new location while you wait for the radiation to die down. Now, the one thing I don't think I've seen people outside of the actual people making the game itself get right is PvP. And PvP is something I do want to make sure you guys fully understand, so you can all be calm and not. Some of the people I've seen talking about PvP are like, oh my god, I don't want to be shot or in PvP because people are just going to steal all my loot. PvP won't work like that. So PvP at the minute, from the information we know, works like this. If I, as person A, comes across person B, I have the choice to attack or instigate a PvP situation. So, draw my gun, point my gun, say you want a PvP, right? That's the instigation phase, as we'll call it. Then, person B would turn around and they have two choices. They have, no, I don't want a PvP, or yes, I do want a PvP. In which case, if they select yes, then you will PvP. You will one of you or both of you will die, and then you'll both respawn, and you'll go back to before the instigation phase. So you'll go back to, do you want a PvP? Yes, no. And the way that this has been described through an interview is, in Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, if you're walking down a road and you see a Deathclaw or an enemy, you have two options. You can try and fight the Deathclaw, to which you might win, you might lose, or you can just try and get around the Deathclaw by turning around and walking away or going in a different direction, right? So you have that choice there. Now, if you choose to fight the Deathclaw and you die, you will like in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, it'd backlock you back to your latest quick save, where you would then have that do I want to fight, do I want to run style thing again, and you could choose to fight the Deathclaw again and possibly win, or you can go away. This is how the PvP system is going to work in Fallout 76. If you get into a fight, you're thinking, I want to test how good I am at PvP. Let's fight that guy over there. You fight and you lose. You don't lose your loot. From what we can see in the guy where he fights P. Garvey or Preston Garvey, we see the fact that you just gain some caps. So that's a good thing. And you don't have to worry about someone turning up, shooting you, taking your loot, waiting for you to respawn, shooting you again, taking your loot, because it's entirely optional. So it's all down to how you and the other person decide to do this. It's an interesting PvP system, but you don't have to worry about being griefed or anything like this, because people can't just walk up to you and shoot you. They can walk up to you and be like, I'm going to shoot you, let's PvP, and you can just be like, nah bro, see you in a bit, and walk off. So that's PvP. You don't have to worry about being griefed or mugged or anything like that. It's a good system. There you go. Now, NPCs. NPCs are a big thing in Fallout games. They are the people who will barter with you, give you quests, the raiders that would be around the corner waiting to shoot you. And as we now know from the announcement and subsequent interviews, that any NPC you come across, or any character in the waste of Virginia you'd come across, is an actual person. There are no NPCs as in non-playable characters, non-programmed characters, I think we should call it, because NPCs aren't a thing in this game. There are none, basically. However, there is a style of NPC. Now, we do know that the possibility of getting quests through robots is a thing, so robots are somewhat of an NPC. We saw in the trailer, the announcement trailer, that up at Briarfield Resort, there are Securitrons and Protectrons walking about, so we do know that there will be robots in the game, but there is also 80 plus different styles of enemies, which one of them will be a faction style semi-feral ghoul state, group of ghouls who know how to use guns. And, there will also be super mutants and all this other kind of stuff, which, yes, you won't be able to interact with in the way that you've been able to in the past, where, you walk up, you barter and all this kind of stuff. None of that is in the game. However, there are still, you'll still have that situation where you round a corner, you see like a squad of super mutants, and they'll say, where is milk of humankind, or whatever that Strong used to say in Fallout 4. So there are NPCs that way, but there are no quest-giving NPCs, no bartering NPCs outside of what it appears to be with, vending robots. So yeah, that's all I can really say on the NPCs at the minute, because there's still not a lot of information on that, but the whole ghouls with guns thing is kind of interesting to me. So you do have something to look forward to, and who knows, maybe eventually down the line someone will find a way to make a mod that mods in NPCs. So if you ever did want to play solo, get a private server, throw in quest mods and throw in NPC mods and throw in an endgame mod, and there you go, you've just created your own Fallout game. So yeah, NPCs not really a thing, but also they are kind of a thing. Now, one thing I want to cover real quick, which people have said is turning Fallout 76 into a pay-to-win game, are microtransactions. Now, this is a real brief one, because the information on microtransactions begins and ends with, it is not pay-to-win. There will not be, and so far there is nothing that is you pay money to get a gun. There is you pay money to get a skin for a gun, or a costume, or a paint job for some power armor. Those are the only microtransactions that have been confirmed and said are going to be the only thing in the game. It has been stated that there will not be a pay-to-win system where you pay to get a legendary laser rifle with a specific kind of weapon modification or anything like that. None of that's in the game. The only thing microtransactions allow you to do are make yourself look fancy. But the thing is, you don't actually have to pay for the cosmetic style stuff, because if you go into a nuclear area or an event or a raid, the enemies you kill will drop the same style of stuff loot, skin wise, customization wise, on them. It would be a form of loot that you get from killing high level enemies. So you don't actually have to do anything with the microtransactions whatsoever. Now, the thing with the microtransactions is to keep Fallout 76's servers continuously running and all this kind of stuff. They've put microtransaction in as a small little way that you, apart from if you bought the $200 limited edition, Vault T51B power armor helmet, which is a lot of money. You can just pay for a couple of microtransactions, and the money goes directly to helping the service stay running. So microtransactions are not pay to win; they are simply just cosmetic stuff. Now, like I mentioned previously with nukes, end game comes into an effect. People have been wondering if there is a end game. You reach your end of your main rebuild. The wasteland quest, and if anything happens, do we turn on a purifier or do we find Sean? Something along those lines. And no, there is no end game. There is absolutely 100% at the minute no end game. You will not get to final quest, do this and restore order and peace to the galaxy. None of that exists at the minute. However, there are end game style events and places, like I mentioned with the nuclear launch codes and the bunkers, and the irradiated places where the nukes launch. Those are considered high level end game style ish kind of places that you couldn't really do at a low level, say like level 5 or whatever you leave in the vault. Those are the only end game style things, but as of yet there is no end game, as in final quest, you do it and then kaput, the game shuts down, that's it, you have to make a new character and restart over. Basically you're just going to get to a very high level, and then you're just going to be stuck walking around West Virginia, which is not bad, because there are people out there who will want to explore the map, will want to find everything that they can possibly find. So that's a good thing that there is no end game. But at the same time, it does kind of put a bit of a stagnant kind of ending to playing the game, because you'll eventually, all you're going to be doing is walking around, killing people, doing the quests that you find and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, there's no end game, but it's like it's like a double-edged sword, really. There's, you know, some good stuff, some bad stuff. Now, like I mentioned in base building, vendors. Vendors are something I want to just go over real quick, because what this is kind of 50% information we know, 50% my hypothesis of what will happen with vendors. But from what we can see here in this vendor style little bit of footage, is they kind of look like coins operated vending machines. So, you know, there's like that little slot on the side where you put in your money, and you would then, you know, get the item you paid for. Now, the way I think this is going to work is someone who builds this, so say you are running a trading settlement, say you're this person, right? So you put down your chem vendor and your weapon vendor and your armor vendor and all this kind of stuff. What will happen is someone will turn up and go, oh yeah, I'm looking for, you know, some ammo or whatever, or I need some stim packs. They will go to the vendor, they will press either the, like, you know, how we have on Fallout 4 at the moment with the transfer button. They'll either do that, or they'll press X to, you know, enter barter system kind of stuff, where the vending machine will have its slots with the stuff that are filled up and the you know, the cap prices, and then they'll just do the basic kind of trading stuff, and then, you know, you click accept click accept, you know, offer or trade or whatever, and then you just back out. And, you know, I think that's how vendors are going to work. Vending machines now, because it's mentioned that there might be vending robots, it is the possibility that when you put down the vending machine, it unpacks into like a vending style robot kind of thing. You know, I don't think that's the case. I think if you will have vending robots, they will be like, you know, the ones that you can build in Fallout 4, where you build them at a robot workshop and then attach them to something in your settlement. So, you know, build a robot that goes and picks food or anything like that. I think that's how the robot vendors might work. But then again, like I said, it's 50-50. The information we really have right now is not the greatest. So you've kind of got to speculate on some of this stuff, and you've kind of got to like look into it and kind of theorize and all this kind of stuff. But with the vending machine, I think that's how they will work. Now there are quite a few vendors, and, you know, as we saw in Fallout 4, you have clothing vendor, weapon vendor, ammo vendor, junk vendor, like your miscellaneous vendor, and chem vendor. It does look like there's maybe one or two more, so I wonder what they might be. But yeah, I think that's how vending machines or vending or bartering is going to work in the game, outside of player-to-player trading. Now we've only got a few things left to cover this, so we might as well cover quests or questing. Now, we do know that quests will be found. You will not be given quests. You will find quests through robots, terminals, holotapes, notes, like just random bits of scrap paper that you'll find around West Virginia in shacks or whatever. But we do know that there is a main quest thing that you have to follow, which is most likely given to you by the Vault 76 Overseer, which is to go back out and reclaim West Virginia for yourself. That appears to be the basic main quest. However, there will be, because the map is so big, there will be many quests that you can find on terminals and through holotapes and all this kind of stuff. Probably a lot of them will be, unless you're in like a military installation, a lot of them will be quests left behind by either the people who managed to survive the nuclear blasts but not survive past going into like feral ghoul status or killed by something. That'll most likely be that, or you'll find like a dead body with a quest on it, like you'll find a note or whatever, or you'll just find something randomly on it on a holotape. But that appears how quests are going to work right now. And the fact that there is no end game quest kind of makes Fallout 76 an interesting style type of game. That, you know, with the fact that there's no end game, will people eventually just get bored of it, or will they find a way to reinvent the new, you know, the Fallout Online basically? But yeah, no quests. There is one main quest, and the rest of them are just found or most likely given to you by robots. Now, before we get on to what I'm going to say, the final one, we have leveling up to deal with. Now, leveling up is as follows. There is no level cap. There you go. That's all the information we have on leveling up. Now, leveling up at the minute, all the information we know is that there is no level cap like Fallout 4, so you can continuously level and level and level. However, as you know, if you have played Fallout 4, the leveling up system is, it gets a lot trickier as you get past like level 40, because trying to find, unless you go into the glowing sea or higher level areas, getting the XP you need for this kind of stuff eventually just gets tedious. Now, you know, you can do, as I've managed to do, I've managed to get about 20 levels out of just building stuff, which is quite interesting in Fallout 4, and we don't know if you will get experience through building stuff, but it's most likely you will as well. However, leveling up is just basically that there is no level cap, so you will, if you want to get into some high level areas pretty quick, I suggest going and doing a lot of finding a good place and going and doing a lot of grinding. That looks like the best way you're going to reach max level, really, is grinding to the point where you can launch nukes in places that don't make you a dick, and then go and grind in that area until the radiation dies down, and then rinse and repeat until you can go and, you know, tackle the greatest of greatest enemies. Because I know for a fact that they're going to put in like super legendary death claws or something that are like level 80 that take a lot of firepower to kill. But yeah, basically leveling up is, there is no level cap, so go out and do your grinding. Now, I did forget to mention this, so I will mention this really quickly. Updates and DLC. Now, we know for a fact both of them will be free, and the updates will be frequent, if not, I won't say weekly, but most likely monthly. If not monthly, bi-monthly, because the fact that it's an online game and they want to keep things going and adding in all the adding bits in over time. So they will most likely update, if not bi-weekly, maybe if not bi-monthly, so every 2 months, maybe every 4 months. I don't know. It depends how long it takes them to roll out updates. But the beta will probably give them some information they need to know on how to fix stuff, so by the time the game comes out in November, you might actually not see an update for a bit, unless they want to add something in, like change how a weapon is, because it might be a little bit OP or anything like that. Those are the only updates you'll see from the beginning, and then when DLC comes along, or maybe someone wants to add in a new gun, or maybe there's creation club stuff or anything like that, then you will get an update. But for DLC is free. And it doesn't matter if you pre-ordered the Legendary Edition or the Basic Edition, DLC will be free. This has been said in one of the interviews that, you know, all updates on DLC will be free, and that is awesome. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I can't get, you know, like the Far Harbor style version of West Virginia's DLC because I don't have enough money. It's going to be free. Don't worry about it. It's awesome. Now, finally, the last thing I want to cover, and to be honest, it's the most fun part of the thing I want to cover, is guns. Now, guns have gone back to the Fallout 3 style of working, which means they will degrade over time. Yes, degradation of weapon usage is back in. So that means every time you fire a couple of shots, your weapon gets damaged, which means I don't know if they're going to do it this way, which is, you know, you go find, like, oh no, my laser rifle is about to be broken, what do? You go find another laser rifle, combine the two like you did in Fallout 3, or if you're going to need to craft and or buy repair kits, or, you know, like you had to do in Fallout 3. But your gun basically now degrades, and they've brought back the unique / legendary style versions of guns. So like the Wazza rifle, and, you know, some of the other ones that I'm trying to remember, like Lincoln's Repeater and all this kind of stuff. Those styles of weapons are now back, so there will be unique legendary style weapons. And there are a couple of new ones that I've managed to spot out. Now we've all spotted the MG42, and there is a Gatling gun. And when I say Gatling gun, I don't mean like the modern style Gatling gun. I mean the old crank style Gatling gun, where you know, with the hexagonal barrels. So that's in it, which looks like it's going to be something you can only probably carry in power armor. And there's another one as well, which I don't know if I'm getting this right. It's the M40 heavy machine gun. It's like the stuff you see on top of tanks on like Western style tanks. So that's in it as well. We can see that right here on this picture right there. That guy's holding it. But the guns are going to be quite an interesting thing, because with Fallout 4, you could just, as long as you had ammo, you could just stick in a battle for as long as you wanted. but now you're going to have to make sure that you go into this battle with a well-repaired, well-rounded gun that is not going to, you're going to fire off all these shots trying to kill something, and your weapon just breaks. It's going to be a very interesting way to see how people deal with this. Now, weapon conditions will probably also affect if you want to trade a weapon in, like through a bartering system. That's going to have an effect on it, most likely, as well. But I am actually kind of happy they've gone back to this style of weapon, because it basically, when I played Fallout 3, I had the Lincoln Repeater as one of my main weapons, I think. I had the Lincoln Repeater and the Alien Blaster, but I had all the DLC, so I could go up to Mothership Zeta, get some Alien Blasters to repair my Alien Blaster, or go to Point Lookout, I think it was called, or something like that, and get the just the bush rifle or the repeater and repair the Lincoln Repeater with that, which, that's the kind of stuff we're going to have to do now. Now, with legendary weapons, I don't know if they will degrade slower or faster, or if heavy weapons will degrade slower or faster. The degradation system hasn't really been looked into that much, but we do know that there will be a degradation system, so make sure that you are very careful and repair your guns, because you don't want to get into that situation where your gun jams on you in the middle of a Deathclaw fight or a PvP fight, or breaks entirely and you're left with nothing but your fists. So that's all the information I've been able to dig up. Now, it might have seemed like a lot of it was brief style kind of information, and I did that intentionally so you guys could grasp your head around it and go out there and look into some of the things that you wanted more. If you wanted a very detailed and super in-depth version of all this kind of stuff, I will do one of them if you guys would like. But that information is everything that I've managed to find through listening and watching interviews, reading online articles, and picking it up from you guys in Discord chat rooms and all this, out off Reddit and all this kind of stuff. But I want to know some stuff that you found interesting about the information I've given you, and if I got any of it wrong. Now, I know I probably did one or two things wrong because there's not a lot of information on it. But go ahead and stick your thoughts and information in the comment section down below. And you know the drill. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe, like, and share. And as always, stay awesome.